pour la couverture en direct de cette rencontre de hockey sur luge aux Jeux paralympiques d'hiver de 2010 à Vancouver. Rob Snook, Rick Middleton et Louis-Simon Lapointe seront avec vous dans quelques instants. Hi and welcome to Puck Radio. Bonjour et bienvenue sur les ondes de Puck Radio.
Bonjour et welcome to Puck Radio. Bienvenue sur la Puck Radio. My name is Louis-Simon Lapointe and I'm working alongside Rob Snook and Rick Middleton. We're live from the press box at UBC Thunderbird Arena for the Vancouver 2010 Paralympic Winter Games. We're getting ready for Game 6 of the sledge hockey Paralympic tournament. In a few moments, Team Canada will face Team Sweden. Bonjour, mon nom est Louis-Simon Lapointe et bienvenue à nouveau sur Puck Radio. Je suis en compagnie de Rob Snook et de Rick Middleton. Nous sommes à quelques instants de ce match numéro 6 de ce tournoi paralympique de hockey-luge. Ça commencera dans quelques instants. Ce match tant attendu entre l'équipe Canada et l'équipe Suède. And now to my colleagues, Rob Snook and Rick Middleton.
Thank you, Louis. And the Canadian team comes on the ice. Let's listen. A huge ovation for the team in red. The Canadian squad, the reigning Paralympic gold medalists, winners of their first game yesterday. And Louis, it's such a pleasure to be involved in this broadcast here in the venue at the UBC Arena. My name is Rob Snook and had a chance to be a Paralympic athlete many years ago in summer sports and these days working in the sports broadcasting field. And this is the third time that I've witnessed the Paralympic Winter Games, Salt Lake City, Torino, and here in Vancouver. And the first time for me was in 2002 when I watched the U.S. team win the gold medal, and the coach of that team was none other than Rick Middleton, who sits at my right. Rick, a little more about yourself.
Well, a little bit about myself. Let's see, I'm an ex-NHL hockey player with the New York Rangers and Boston Bruins. I played in the NHL from 1973 to 88. Retired after 88 and really didn't find sled hockey until about 2001 when I was asked to coach the 2002 national team going into Salt Lake City. I accepted the challenge. It was a challenge at certain times, but we got into Salt Lake City as the host team, the 6th seed out of 6 teams, and surprised everybody, and lucky enough to play Norway in the gold medal and beat them in the shootout for the gold medal. And I have to tell you, it was the biggest thrill of my life. I haven't coached at the Paralympic level since, but I'm so happy to be back here involved in the Paralympics and sitting beside such a professional as yourself and Louis.
Thank you, and myself, of course, Louis-Simon Lapointe. If you believe it sounds French, you are absolutely right. I'm from the beautiful city of Quebec City. I'm a sport journalist there on radio and on TV. I'm also following what's happening also in Quebec City, the Quebec province, on junior hockey and university football. I'm really happy also to join this Puck Radio in this Vancouver 2010 Paralympic Winter Games, and I've got the feeling that this will be a very exciting game. You know, guys, we just had today a great game earlier this morning. We were so close to get a first big upset from Italy over Norway. Finally, and by the way, talking about upsets, the Swedish team just there was so close also yesterday for one of those, huh?
Very close. They took Norway, had the lead until the late point in the third period and wound up losing in a shootout. But you're right, Louis, it was very close.
I want to invite everyone who is listening to us at the moment here in UBC Thunderbird Arena to text your questions, ask anything to our panel about sledge hockey. Really easy on your cell phones, ladies and gentlemen, 604 404 PUCK 604. 404 PUCK, vous pouvez envoyer vos questions par messagerie texte, poser vos questions qui vous viennent en tête sur le hockey luge au 604-404 PUCK. Canada, Sweden, enjoy the game.
And in net for Canada, a change from yesterday. Benoit Saint-Amand, the native of, his hometown is Saint-Hubert, Quebec, and he takes over from Paul Rosen today. It's Canada against Sweden. We are underway. The Canadians have also started the third line in this game, or at least a different line in this game. Hervé Lord, Whitson, who walks out front trying to pass it, and the puck is still at the edge of the crease. They scramble for it. The referee has lost sight, and so the whistle goes, and a mad scramble to begin the first period. Canada with an early chance.
I'm not sure by starting what you should call your second goalie to Paul Rosen or your third line, like you stated, is a lack of respect for the Swedish team, or is it the fact that they know that Jans Kask is not playing, and Sweden only has dressed 10 players plus the goalie for this game?
That is a big part of the story, is Jans Kask, who I think everyone who watched the Swedish game yesterday against Norway would agree was their best player, has a broken finger. He is not in today's game, and so Sweden will begin without his veteran presence, and we'll see how they match up against Canada. We're in the first minute of the first period. Canadians pulled off a 4-0 win over Italy yesterday. Now here comes Brad Bowden racing after it. Ingvarsson getting back just in time. Nicholas Ingvarsson sends it in behind his own net. Rasmus Lindgren now after it. The 18-year-old is slammed against the boards by Westlake. Now Bowden back to Westlake. 2 goals yesterday, still has it. And he was pausing. Now Bowden with a chance. He shoots it, that's stopped. Nicholson battling for it. Bowden another shot, and another shot. They score! Bradley Bowden gets Canada on the board. It's 1-0. We're not even a minute and a half into the game.
Nilsson made a great glove save on the first shot. Fell down, made a great save on the rebound, but he couldn't stop the third shot, and you really can't expect him to. There's the great glove save. Here's the second shot, and there's the third flip that found its way under his arm and into the net. But if that's going to be a sign of this game to come, Sweden's going to be in for a long day. They got to clear that puck from in front of the net.
Brad Bowden playing in his 101st career Team Canada game. It scores his first of the Paralympic tournament and gets Canada an early lead. And a huge collision and a penalty coming, but a chance for Ingvarsson. He scores! Ingvarsson beats Benoit Saint-Amand. This game is tied, and just 13 seconds after Canada took the lead, it's all locked up.
You know, if there's one thing I've come to realize about this sled hockey tournament, expect the unexpected. Just when you think that Canada is all over Sweden and gets a goal, gets 3 shots on net, 2 rebounds, puts the goal in, you think there's going to be more of that coming. Sweden comes back the other way and puts the puck in to tie the game.
Rick, we have gone stretches of 20, 25, 30 minutes without a goal, and we have gone 1 minute and 38 seconds, and we've got 2 already. They're going to look at the replay, but I don't know if there's any reason to. What would you say, though, was Ray Grassi being over-aggressive because he was about to get a penalty? Should he have played the puck there instead?
Well, a lot of times, and we saw it happen yesterday in the Norway game, where the players come up on the approaching player and they expect them to go left or right. And they have to play it right on him and then react to how he goes. Grassi came up and the player never went one way or the other. They collided. They were going to call it a teeing penalty, but the puck popped loose and Ingvarsson picked up the loose puck and scored the goal. So I'm not sure he could have played it any different.
And icing call here against Sweden, although it is virtually impossible to hear the whistles. But since everybody stopped skating and they sent the puck down the ice, our only guess is it must be an icing.
It must be the sea of red we see out in front of us.
Definitely a heavily slanted Canadian, pro-Canada audience. Teams are at even strength. We're 2 minutes into the first period. The teams are also even on the scoreboard at 1-1. And Jean Labonte, the Canadian captain, his pass, that won't happen very often, went off the butt end of the stick of Sean Matheson. And Labonte gets it deep into the Sweden corner. Back to get it is Marcus Holm. Scored a goal for Sweden yesterday. And their loss, there's a shot that was tipped and just went wide of the net.
I think that was tipped twice.
Canadians trying to reclaim that advantage. Adam Dixon, deep in his own end, will shovel it ahead. Matheson can't get to it, but Hervé Lord does. The 52-year-old. I don't know where I got the 15 from, but he's been around the sport for longer than that, in fact, and an icing call against Sweden.
Hervé goes back to Lillehammer in '94 with this team, Nagano in '98, Salt Lake City in '02, and Torino in '06. This is his 5th Paralympic Games. They call him the Lord.
They do. Hervé is the youngest of 9 children from Quebec, Saint-Pamphile, Quebec. So he had to fight for his food growing up. I know, I'm the youngest of 8, and that's what makes you tough, I think. Nicholas Ingvarsson. Down the ice it goes for Sweden. This might go enough for icing. It does. And so with 3 minutes and 3 seconds gone by in the first period, a couple of quick goals. We're not sure. We're trying to check if those have been the 2 fastest in Paralympic sledge hockey history. We'll see if we can get that stat for you, but 13 seconds apart.
It's going to be interesting to see how Sweden handles the conditioning with only 10 players dressed. Sometimes if they're your best players, it can be an advantage.
Sweden steals the puck, and out they come to center ice, led by Ingvarsson. Ahead for Aaron Anderson, who's rammed into by Graham Murray. Anderson will have to go back for his stick. Ray Grassi almost gives it away in his own end. He didn't hear the Swedish player sneaking up in behind him. Bowden lurking, waiting for the pass, never came. And it's in behind the Canadian net as Kasperi has it taken away. Westlake pushes it ahead for Bowden. He gets it to the line, but not out. Good pressure by Sweden.
Sweden has a good young lineup out there. Kasperi, the youngest player in the tournament, is 16 years old, number 8.
Graham Murray for Greg Westlake, who scored 2 goals yesterday. Here's a chance for Ingvarsson, and he is run into by Murray. And another collision in the corner involving Ray Grassi.
The Swedish defense being very aggressive. Ingvarsson, a defenseman, in the corner fighting for the puck.
And the whistle goes. The faceoff will be to the left of Benoit Saint-Amand.
I think that Sweden is thinking better to be aggressive with this Canadian team than let them come at you. They've done that in the past. They've played a passive game, and it really hasn't been successful for them, especially without Kask in the lineup, who was magnificent yesterday at cutting the ice off, getting in the lanes, getting the puck out of the zone. They're going to have to play more in the Canada zone today.
Haven't seen Billy Bridges on the ice very often in this game. He's on right now, knocks the puck around the boards. And Ingvarsson will shoot it right back in for Sweden. 4.5 minutes into the first period. A 1-1 game between Canada and Sweden. Labonte scored a goal and assisted on another yesterday in Canada's win against Italy. And now it is Mark Dorian. He scored a goal yesterday, his first ever in Paralympic competition. Up ahead for Bridges. Cuts to the middle, he tried anyway and was upended. Dorian trying to work it back out for Bridges. They bang away in behind the net. Ingvarsson has it in his sled. Aggression by Canada. The puck squirts out front. It is covered up by Ulf Nielsen, and he'll hold on.
That's the Canadian game, the North American game. The U.S. team is very similar. They'll get in there, they'll hound you, they'll hit you hard, they'll get the defenseman looking up, not caring where the puck is. A little different mentality than you saw between the Swedish and the Norway teams. Yesterday is more of a waiting game, a methodic game. Look for the lane, make the pass, not a lot of body checks. Totally different game.
Off the face-off, the shot by Labonte is blocked, and Ingvarsson seems to be taking the place of Jans Kask in terms of being on the ice the entire game for Sweden, and he's done a lot of good so far. He scored the only goal for Sweden, and this is a tie game, almost 5.5 minutes into the first period.
Ingvarsson and Holm are going to get a lot of ice time today, I think.
Dixon with a pass ahead for Bridges. He finds Jeremy Booker in a race. Holm getting back, and Marcus Holm makes a fine defensive play to steal it. Now Ingvarsson is able to send it down the ice. Canada making a change, and Dixon will loft it to an open wing. Canadians are trying to finish a line change. Booker and Dorian head off.
Dixon, another good young player for Canada, 20 years old, nicknamed Mr. Bodangles. That's one of the better ones we've heard.
It's a lot to get out, though, when you're trying to call for a quick pass.
Yeah.
Whitson has Hervé Lord in front if he can get him the puck. Instead, he'll send it back to the blue line. Dixon will try to get to it. He does. Good keep in by the Canadians, but it is sent down the ice now. This will be an icing call against Sweden with 8:28 to go in the first period.
You see, I think they should institute the rule that the NHL has. That was an intentional icing, maybe just for intentional icings. The referee has to determine if that's the play, but you should not be able to change your line just by shooting it down the ice, slowing the play down. I think, it would serve it to keep the play going, make it more exciting.
Somebody said something interesting to me who was just learning hockey. I was teaching it to an Australian, and I'll carry on that thought in a minute. Well, we might have time now. He said when a team's killing a penalty, that's when they should not be allowed to ice the puck. That would be a real penalty.
Wow.
It's always the way we've done it in the sport. But wouldn't it be a real penalty if when you're killing a penalty, you were not allowed to ice it, and every time the faceoff came back in your end when you did?
I'd hate to be a penalty killer then.
I think
if you can't shoot it down the ice.
I think it makes a lot of sense. You just have to learn to do it better. You have to loft it out, It would be very interesting. You might end up with penalty killers who end up on the ice for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure that we welcome all those watching on ParalympicSport.tv. Glad to have you along for the ride. If you're in the building as well here on Puck Radio. This is a dandy and a sellout here at the UBC Thunderbird Arena. Team Canada, Team Sweden. And another icing call against Sweden. That brings the face-off back in the Canadian end yet again.
One strategy I like that Sweden is doing is they're sending a player, normally a winger, up high. Once they see that they're going to get possession in their own zone, they have a man breaking up a center, which makes the Canadian defense back out of the zone. Therefore, they're not able to put the pressure on that they normally do.
By the way, the officials in this game, the referee is Scott Bokal of the U.S., the linesman Stephen Richardson of Norway, and Leon Wesley of the Czech Republic. Face-off in the Swedish end. 16-year-old taking the draw and winning the draw. Dixon, though, for Canada with a shot towards the net. That was actually a fairly missed by a fair distance. Nicholson and Bowden digging forward in the Swedish end. Bowden. Nicholson has his man tied up, and the puck is claimed by Sweden. They can't clear it, though. Labonte was way up in the high slot all alone, but just couldn't reach it. Now Nicholson sends it right back in behind the net for Westlake.
If Labonte had missed that, it was a 2-on-1 or a possible breakaway for Sweden.
Nicholson, Westlake scores! He fanned on it, but it trickled in anyway, and Canada reclaims the lead. It's 2-1.
Again, a defensive breakdown in front of the Swedish net. Nobody covering Westlake. He even fanned on that shot, and the puck went in. He had enough time.
Bowden and Nicholson will no doubt draw the assists on the go-ahead goal by Team Canada. Comes at the 7:44 mark.
Right there, Holm and Ingvarsson, both behind the net. That's a no-no in anybody's hockey. You don't have both defensemen behind the net. Nilsson overplaying that shot. That's why he's mad at himself.
Greg Westlake had 2 yesterday against Italy. He scores another one here. I'm sure this will be the kind of one that they laugh about later on because he got nothing on that.
Right.
And he tried to one-time it. The pass, though, to his defense was a wobbling pass, and it's hard to one-time those. Graham Murray recovers. It looked like he might have made a mistake. Now Booker with the left-handed shot. Save made. Bridges after it, in behind the net. Billy Bridges walks out front. It's waiting, now passing. Booker fires left-handed, and that was stopped. We mentioned that because Jeremy Booker is the only Canadian who favors the left-handed shot. And so when you see him get it on his left side, he has no intention of passing to the right unless he's not in a position to shoot. He can shoot hard from that left side.
Well, it certainly looks like Canada's not sitting on their 2-1 lead. They're going right after Sweden, trying to put this one away early.
Ray Grassi in behind his own net for Graham Murray. Pushes it right into the middle for Billy Bridges. Picking up speed out of his own end. Bridges pushes it ahead for Booker. The pass not received, and Holm will try to clear it. Sweden's goal scorer yesterday, Marcus Holm, against Norway. Gets some help along the boards, and Sweden is able to send it to center ice. Shot right back in by Graham Murray. A crowd approaching the 7,000 mark here at the UBC Thunderbird Arena. Billy Bridges gets the puck to Booker, but he couldn't make a play with it. And knocked back to center, where Adam Dixon of Canada will shoot it right back in. Much more inspired effort by the Canadians. They seem a little bit looser in this game, Rick.
Well, they seem to be more focused and intent on what they want to do.
Matheson for Dixon to the Swedish line. The puck eventually finds Whitson just out of his reach. He'll send one towards the net, and Lord was going there. The puck doesn't go in, but Lord does. And Dixon does a great job to keep it in. Adam Dixon cuts across, throws it to the net. Lord couldn't reach it. Ingvarsson now for Sweden will try to clear it. Labonte, though, gets to it but can't keep it in. And now a race, but Dixon will be back, and Labonte gets back too. That old rule, Rick, that I try to teach the kids that I coach, answering the question, who's the fastest player on the ice? And the answer is the one who just gave up the puck. Right. And Labonte followed that rule to a T.
You always get back as fast as you can.
Especially when you're the one who just gave up the puck.
Exactly.
Here's a chance for Canada. Matheson knocks it into the Swedish corner just as he gets run into. And now Graham Murray has it for Canada. He has to wait. He'll launch the puck into the Swedish end. The Canadians all make sure to clear the zone. Here comes Greg Westlake on the forecheck, and he throws a big hit. But the puck sent out to center by Marcus Holm. And now Brad Bowden racing in. He has one of the Canadian goals. Bowden's got Westlake out front. A shot, and what a save by Nielsen. Ulf Nielsen sprawls across and stops Westlake.
Well, you know the term speed kills. Well, speed almost killed the Swedes right there. He is one of the fastest players, if not the fastest, in sledge hockey. He just blew by the Swedish players, making a great pass on the backhand to Westlake. Nilsson coming up with the biggest save of the game for him, I think, or else this game would be slowly slipping away.
Number 27, Bradley Bowden, a two-sport athlete, is also a Paralympic gold medalist in wheelchair basketball. And Louis, that guy can fly.
Amazing, amazing. And here, listen to this beautiful crowd here this afternoon at UBC Thunderbird Arena. Anyway, just want to say hi to everyone who is listening to us here. If you can hear us, actually, in this big noise. Beautiful crowd. We still have lots of questions actually coming on the 604-404 puck. We also invite you to text us your questions here at UBC Thunderbird Arena. We were talking about the fastest player on the ice. Someone is asking here, who has the fastest shot? What are your picks?
Well, I don't think officially it's ever been clocked, but I gotta say that Tommy Rovelstad from Norway has a bullet. I also know Taylor Chase from the USA team has a bullet. Who else?
Billy Bridges.
Billy Bridges. You don't see Billy take the shot that much. He likes to work it around. He's a good playmaker. But Robelstad, I've seen him shoot it over the net from center ice sitting down.
That's amazing.
And you said
Beautiful.
Bridges broke the glass one time.
Broke a pane of glass in Torino.
Must be proud.
And the Canadians continue to buzz around the Swedish net. Graham Murray trying to keep it in. Can't do it, but he'll get back defensively. Just as Engmark will launch the puck ahead for Aron Andersson, the track star in summer Paralympic sport. Andersson number 4 for Sweden, but that's an offside call at the Canadian blue line.
Another one of those good young players, 22 years old, played in the 06 Paralympics in Torino, has some experience at such a young age. They have Rasmus Lundgren, 18 years old, also played in Torino. Anders Wistrand, 26, Nicholas Rekos, 23, Dan Svensson, 24. This is the youth movement for Sweden, a brand new youth movement, really, in the last 4 years.
Interesting how Canadians are splitting up their 3 most dominant offensive players. Billy Bridges not seeing much time with, or any yet so far, with Bowden and Westlake. Here's a chance for Sweden, and Labonte throws a good hit, and not just for effect, but for defensive purposes as he knocked the Swedish player off stride. Dorian is able to get the puck past his own blue line, and maybe a chance for Booker as they'll shovel the puck in, and Bridges will chase it.
Booker didn't see Bridges there. They had a 2-on-1.
And Bridges had his arm all tied up. Booker battles for it along with Bridges. And Billy Bridges works it free. 2:20 to go, first period, Canada leading. Bridges with a shot. He tried to lean into it, but just didn't get much on it. A collision inside the line. Adam Dixon's going to walk in. The penalty coming. Dixon scores! Didn't need the power play. Dixon fires it over top of Nielsen. It is 3-1 Canada.
Mr. Bo Dangles, also known as Dixie. You were saying that's a little hard on the mouth, so I guess when they're calling for the puck, they just call him Dixie.
Well, Dixie had pixie seeds on that shot, and all the way through as he marched in from the blue line, saw the opening, and then eventually, I love the way he looks the pass over and then instead makes the move himself. 3-1 Canada.
Well, Marcus Holm tried to take him, but I think that glance back made Holm think that he was going to pass it, and Holm played him to the left, and he just went to the right a little bit. Nilsson had no chance on it. He went down hoping he'd shoot it low, but he got it up in the top corner.
12:54 of period number 1. Canada opens up a 3-1 lead courtesy of Adam Dixon, the 20-year-old who was the MVP of the World Championships 2 years ago as a teenager, an 18-year-old. Canadians send the puck into the Swedish end. This is going to go for an icing call, but the Canadians have started to assert themselves here in the late stages of the first period.
Well, they had a little bit of a scare yesterday against Italy going into the third period, just up by 1 goal. Anything can happen. I'm sure that they got a talking to either after the game or before the game today, and they've come out loaded for bear.
No mistake by Adam Dixon. Boy, oh boy, did he knew exactly what he wanted to do. The native of Midland, Ontario, gives his team a 2-goal lead.
For a 20-year-old, he has a lot of patience there, just waiting for the goalie to go down.
Whitson for Canada around the boards. Matheson can't reach it. Ingvarsson will. All the Canadians looking to make hits, to be aggressive. Ingvarsson, the Swedish goal scorer in the game, wearing number 3, battling along the boards. Now he'll back off as it is tied up underneath his teammate, Rasmus Lundgren.
You got the Canadian wave going. Pretty good one at that.
Rob, Rick, we have Tommy from Vancouver who's just texting us. Actually, he wants to know a little, I would say, a brief history about the sport.
Rick, I'll leave it to you.
Yeah. And I think that the country which is on the ice have something to do also with sledge hockey.
They sure do, and I'll get to that in our next break.
Graham Murray has it for Canada in behind his net. Nice pass ahead for Westlake. He finds Bridges. He's got Bowden joining him in a moment. And here comes Bowden, racing in, breakaway. He scores! Are you kidding me? Brad Bowden snaps it in. The pass from Bridges, the finish by Bowden. All about the Bees, and the Canadians are buzzing.
It's hard to stop speed like that. You take one guy and another one just comes up, grabs the loose puck. You got to stay with those guys. I don't think Sweden has the speed to stay with a guy like Bowden. Not many teams do, but he also knows where to put that puck. Nice goal.
What I love on that play, Rick, is that you could see it developing from a long, at the time that Brad Bowden started to turn on the wheels, he was a long way from the puck, but he recognized that Billy might pass it, and so he just turned on the jets.
And Billy knows he's coming. It's not like Billy is just down there thinking he's by himself. He knows he's coming somewhere.
That might have been the prettiest goal that we've seen yet. When you see speed like that, it doesn't matter what sport, it's just fun to watch. And the Canadians have launched themselves into a 4-1 lead with a penalty coming up, and it'll be against Sweden. And Benoit Saint-Amand, the Canadian keeper, heads to the bench. They'll get an extra attacker. And we've got a broken stick on the ice as well that seemed to be in the play for a moment. It's an interference penalty against Sweden. Canada goes to the power play here in the final minute of the first period.
Well, it's a good time to answer that question on who invented sled hockey. Well, the team on the ice, not Canada, Sweden.
Yes.
Back in the 60s, actually, in Stockholm, by a group of people who wanted to continue playing hockey despite their physical disabilities. They modified a metal frame sled, or sledge as they went on to call it, with two regular-sized hockey skate blades that allowed the puck to pass underneath, using round poles with bike handles for sticks.
Wait a minute, bike handles?
Bike handles.
Wow.
Yeah. I guess that's all they had then. But the sport caught on by '69. Stockholm had a 5-team league, and they were all set and going, and now this is what it has come to as other countries picked it up since then.
Dixon for Bridges. Billy Bridges, the only Canadian from Prince Edward Island, and he got to play in his home province a short time ago. And here's a chance, and a rocket launch by Bridges went over top of the net. As Bowden returned the favor with a pretty pass. Canadians again strong on the puck in the Swedish zone. We're down to under 15 seconds to play. Bridges to Dixon. Shot towards the net. Rebound is loose in front. And it slides off to the corner, and Anderson will send it around the boards. Kept in by Bowden. That will do it, though. The horn sounds. The first period is over. 2 goals early by both teams. And then the Canadians add 3 and take a 4-1 lead after 1.
Well, all it takes is to look at the shot clock. You have 14-1 in shots by Canada. Sometimes you can have a lopsided shot percentage where it's a 1-1 tie and you get great goaltending or something like that. But those 14 shots by Canada, I would say at least half of them were really close in, great scoring chances.
Yesterday in Canada's win over Italy, Brad Bowden managed 1 assist. Today, after just 1 period, he has 2 goals and 1 assist already. No surprise. Clearly one of the best sledge hockey players in the world. After 1 period, Canada leads 1-0 over the team from Sweden. Sweden clearly missing one of their best players, Jans Kask. And Canada not missing much at all in that first period. Made lots of hits and made lots of shots, and they have scored 4 times, Louis. And it's a 4-1 lead for Canada after 1 period.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to hear your play-by-play during this beautiful first period for Canada. And let's come back quickly on this first period here at UBC Thunderbird Arena. Alors revenons brièvement sur ce match jusqu'à maintenant ici au UBC Thunderbird Arena. L'équipe canadienne qui très rapidement a ouvert la marque 1-0. Brad Bowden en début de première période à 1,25, le numéro 27. Il s'agissait de son premier but jusqu'à maintenant dans ce tournoi paralympique. Todd Nicholson, le numéro 29, a récolté l'assistance. Par contre, quelques secondes plus tard, l'équipe de la Suède a créé l'égalité 1-1. Niklas Ingvarsson avec son premier du tournoi paralympique à 1 minute 38 secondes. C'était quoi? 13 secondes. quelques instants plus tard après le premier but canadien. Mais les Canadiens ne se sont pas laissés imposer. 2-1 le Canada avec Glenn Westlake. Son premier du match et son troisième du tournoi jusqu'à maintenant. À 7-44 pour le numéro 12, Todd Nicholson. Une deuxième passe pour lui dans le match et Brad Bowden le 27. Un deuxième point, c'était alors 2-1 Canada. Moins de 5 minutes plus tard, le Canada qui ajoute un autre filet, le numéro 11, Adam Dixon, avec son premier du présent tournoi, 3-1 Canada à 12-54. Billy Bridges récolte l'aide sur la séquence. Et un dernier filet avant de retraiter au vestiaire pour l'équipe du Canada, 4-1 maintenant pour le Canada, Brad Bowden, avec son deuxième but du match pour le numéro 27 à 13-47 de la première période. Billy Bridges, le numéro 18, et Glenn Westlake, le numéro 12, ont récolté les passes sur la séquence. Also more to come here from UBC Thunderbird Arena. And we will have at 5 p.m. a little bit later today this game between USA and Czech Republic. We will also have the chance to broadcast this game on Puck Radio. Same thing for the 8:30 game a little bit later tonight. Japan will face Korea. Un peu plus tôt aujourd'hui, un match était présenté également ici au Thunderbird UBC Arena. L'équipe de la Norvège qui l'a difficilement emporté. L'important, ce sont les 3 points en bout de ligne. Victoire de 2-1 contre l'équipe de l'Italie. Ça n'a pas été un match facile pour l'équipe de la Norvège qui est classée en deuxième position de ce tournoi paralympique. L'équipe de l'Italie qui menait après les 30 premières minutes de jeu. Et finalement, l'équipe de la Norvège qui a remporté ce match 2-1. Let me remind you a little bit earlier today, Norway was facing Italy. Italy did battle hard against Norway, but finally at the end, 2-1 final score for the Norwegians, who were down by 1-0 Italy after the first 30 minutes of the game. So let me remind you, you are listening to Puck Radio. We are broadcasting all the games here at the Thunderbird UBC Arena. We want also to say a big hello to the people on the web, on internet, on paralympicssport.tv. We are also really happy to know you there. And if you want, we can have now our first guest finally for today. Notre invité pour les prochains instants, il s'agit d'un Paralympien canadien. Je vous dirais un multimédaillé. Est-ce qu'on pourrait dire ça? Benoît Huot, salut.
Salut Louis, ça va?
Très bien, merci beaucoup. We're now with Benoît Huot, Canadian Paralympic swimmer who won how many gold medals again?
8 gold medals in 3 games.
Beautiful. How are you today?
I'm good. It's good to be here. First hockey, sledge hockey game for me. I've seen it on TV before, but it's good to be here. 4-1 after the first period, so it's going well, and it's good to be at the Paralympic Games.
Très heureux de t'avoir avec nous ici. Raconte-moi que nous avons l'honneur de te voir ici à Vancouver pour ces Jeux paralympiques d'hiver, toi qui es beaucoup plus présent l'été.
Absolument, c'est mes premiers Jeux paralympiques d'hiver. J'ai eu le privilège, Louis, de faire la cérémonie d'ouverture avec RDS. Alors, j'ai été un peu l'analyste lors de la cérémonie d'ouverture il y a déjà de cela 48 heures. Et puis, je suis ici aussi avec la Banque Royale qui est un de mes commanditaires. Alors, on reçoit les clients, on fait des événements. Enfin, il y a plein de trucs que la Banque... la Banque supporte les Jeux olympiques et les Jeux paralympiques depuis 1947. Alors, c'est un des grands commanditaires. Et puis, je suis ici avec eux en tant qu'athlète. Et puis, on essaie d'inviter les clients un peu plus privilégiés à venir assister à des événements, comme aujourd'hui, ici à l'Arena UBC Thunderbird.
Toujours sympathique de pouvoir joindre l'utile à l'agréable, finalement.
Absolument. Mais par contre, j'étais supposé d'être ici tous les Jeux.
Okay.
Je vais malheureusement quitter dès ce soir sur le vol de nuit, retour à Montréal, parce qu'on a les sélections pour les championnats du monde qui ont lieu dans 10 jours au Texas. Alors, il faut retourner à l'entraînement parce que je suis encore un athlète et j'espère retourner à mes 4e Jeux paralympiques à Londres en 2012.
We're talking with Benoît Huot, a Canadian Paralympic swimmer. Benoît, we were talking a few seconds ago of what will happen for you also in the next few weeks, next few months actually. And London is coming pretty soon, I guess, in less than 2 years now, in 2012 in London. You are hoping to be there? I
would love to go to London. London would be, if I make it, obviously, it would be my 4th games. In 10 days, I have to go to Texas for the World's Trials. So World Championship are in August in Holland, and that's the next big step. But the big picture, it's London 2012. I'm still training, I'm still competing, I'm loving it, and I would love to go back and for another one.
Ça ressemble à quoi l'entraînement actuellement pour Benoît Huot depuis quelques semaines et finalement dans dans ton emploi du temps, finalement?
L'entraînement, ben, c'est presque un emploi à temps plein, hein, Louis.
Ouais.
C'est du 35 heures semaine, pas tout à la piscine, mais je dirais là, un bon 60 à 70 dans la piscine. Après ça, c'est très complet. Hein. Après ça, 15 à 20, je dirais 10 à 15 heures dans le gym, alors tant en musculation que sur le vélo, un peu de course, du rowing, mais comment on dit ça, l'aviron un peu en salle. Alors pour le fitness, puis on va chercher ce fitness-là parce qu'on en fait beaucoup quand même du cardio en piscine, mais aller en chercher à l'extérieur de la piscine parce que la piscine, dans le fond, pour moi, nager, c'est rendu comme marcher presque. Alors le courir, par contre, demande-moi pas de courir, ça j'ai bien de la misère. Mais tout ça pour dire que c'est très complet, du yoga, du ballet. Alors c'est vraiment complet. Comme l'exemple que je donne, c'est comme le temps que le commun des mortels passe au travail, environ 40 heures moyenne, ben, c'est le temps que nous, on passe à l'entraînement pour s'entraîner, pour espérer retourner et remporter des médailles aux Jeux paralympiques.
Maybe a few words in English why we see you here in Vancouver when you are a summer Paralympic athlete.
Yeah, well, actually, Louis, it's my first Paralympic Winter Games. I'm really happy to be here. I got here on Thursday, and I had the privilege to do the opening ceremony as a commentator for RDS, the French TSN. And it was a great experience. And I actually had the chance to carry the torch as well, the Paralympic torch on Friday.
Yeah, I saw some pictures of that somewhere on the
internet. It was quite early, though. It was 3 in the morning.
Was it on Facebook?
Maybe Facebook. But it was, and I'm here as well with RBC. RBC is one of my sponsors, a Paralympic sponsor as well, and a VANOC sponsor. So it's I'm here, and we're having receptions for clients and mingle with clients, and we have actually great guesses here. The BC Blind Association that it's here with me, and they are invited by RBC, so we're having fun. And my first sledge hockey game, so it's good to be here.
And I think some of your guests are listening to us also on the Puck Radio.
They are. They actually you guys gave us the little mic, the little headphones, and they are listening to us, and they're really happy because it's a lot more convenient for them to listening to the game.
How do you like Vancouver so far in those Paralympic Winter Games?
It's amazing. I actually spent 3 weeks here during the Olympics.
Yeah.
I saw the Olympic Games. I went to most of the short track speed skating event. I have lots of friends, and Charles Hamelin is a good friend of mine. I went to Joanie Rochette as well, bronze medal. It was a lot of emotions there. I saw the bronze medal hockey game, Slovakia against Finland. Finland won. And it was really good. And I saw the closing ceremony as well. So I had a lot of good time. And I was here actually with the Canada Pavilion as an ambassador.
Benoit Rob Snick standing behind you here. I was here in Vancouver. How did you manage to do that while you're training? Because you're continuing to train, I know, and it's so busy during the Olympics. You did it, though.
I did it. I was training every day in the morning before I start working at the Canada Pavilion. And my coach, my weight training coach, came down to Vancouver, stayed with me. He was here from February 7, the day I got here, until February 20. So he was there here for 2 weeks. And Alexandre Despatie was here working with RDS, the network. And we have the same weight training coach. So we trained together. We were here there at the pool every morning. It was really, really busy. And I'm actually starting to feel better now. I was exhausted, tired for 10 days. But I couldn't miss this experience. I had to be here in Vancouver. I'm glad I had the chance to come for the Paralympics. I'm a Paralympic athlete. I wanted to see it. Unfortunately, I'm going home tonight, but I'm actually really happy to be here today.
Well, we're really glad that you've come to the booth. And I know I was in the same situation for you, where for many years I heard about sledge hockey. I saw games on TV and didn't get a chance to see it live. Is it everything that you thought it would be?
Oh, it's faster than I thought. Have you seen Greg Westlake? I actually talked to the guys. I talked to Jean Labonté yesterday, and Benoit Saint-Amand and Greg, and they are so excited. They were waiting for March 12th. You know, the opening. They've been waiting for months for this day, and now it happened. They're doing well, and go Canada, go! We're gonna get them.
And you're back in the pool racing soon?
Yeah, in 10 days we go to Texas. It's the World Championship trials, and Commonwealth trials as well. We know that's a really good thing. Commonwealth is the first major event that integrate Paralympic events, and the medal counts to the final countdown. So I'm gonna, try to make that team, and look forward for the World Championship in August, and New Delhi for Commonwealth Games in October.
Louis, I love it. He's an 8-time Paralympic gold medalist, and he's going to try to make the team. So good for you, Benoit.
Every year we have to make it.
Yes, good for you. Louis, sorry to hijack your interview, but Benoit and I go way back.
And hopefully he'll do this team for a long time, huh?
Well, London would be, I try to think one at a time.
Yeah.
Because, a commitment of 4 years is a long commitment, but and I'm getting a little older. I'm 26 now, I'll be 28 in London, and I'm not sure if I can go to Rio for another 4. But we'll see. Who knows? I'm still loving it. I love to go to the pool. Actually, I train, it's Sunday, but since I missed Friday's workout because of the torch, because of the opening, all that stuff, I went back to the pool this morning. I trained actually on Burrard, the aquatic center here.
Okay.
So it's a great facility. Go in the gym, train in the pool, and yeah, so I'm still in shape.
Dernière question, est-ce que déjà tu regardes pour l'après-carrière?
L'après-carrière, il y a plein de trucs qui m'intéressent. Quoi exactement? Je suis encore aux études. Hein?
Oui.
Je suis en communication à l'Université du Québec à Montréal, à l'UQAM. Et puis, j'aime beaucoup les médias. J'aimerais beaucoup faire de la radio, mais bon, c'est un milieu qui est quand même très contingenté, qui est difficile d'accès. Mais c'est quelque chose qui m'intéresse beaucoup. Et puis, qui sait, peut-être un jour.
C'est quand même quelque chose que plusieurs personnes n'ont pas, l'expérience d'être un athlète. Et ça, des fois, c'est la clé, c'est l'émotion additionnelle qu'on fait le boulot.
Ouais.
Là, là.
Les émotions que j'avais, Louis, lors de la cérémonie d'ouverture, c'est incroyable. J'aurais tellement aimé ça, être à leur place, de marcher dans le stade avec 60 000 spectateurs pour t'accueillir, puis au Canada. Mais bon, un jour peut-être à la radio.
On va le souhaiter.
Mais merci, Louis.
Au pire, on travaillera ensemble.
Ah oui, tu m'appelleras.
C'est bon, excellent.
Sur Facebook, au pire.
C'est réglé. Benoit Huot, Canadian Paralympic swimmer, 8 gold medals in Summer Paralympics, and he will be there, of course, in London 2012.
I will do my best to be there.
Excellent. Thank you, Ben.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Enjoy the rest of the game also. Alors voilà, nous étions accompagnés de Benoit Huot, un octuplique. Est-ce qu'on peut vraiment utiliser l'expression 8 fois médaillé d'or aux Jeux paralympiques d'été? And now let's be back, because in a few seconds only the second period will start here, and I'll give the microphone to my two colleagues, Rob and Rick.
And thanks, Louis. That was fun to listen to, and I'm not very good in my French, but I did my best to listen to Benoit, and he's fun to listen to, and he's got so many great stories, and you know that he just loves his sport, and so it was great to have him in the booth.
Yeah, absolutely. We will probably see him a little later. If you have any questions, maybe for Benoit, 604-404-POC. I know he will be around also if you have any questions also for you guys, for what's happening here in this venue at the Sledge Hockey Tournament. Puck Radio, 604-404-PUCK. We are waiting for your text messages.
Surely one of Canada's great Paralympic athletes, Benoit Huot, who has, as we talked about, the gold medals, but there have been other medals as well, and just a great athlete. Rick Middleton back in his seat after a little rest between periods. You got bumped out of your seat, Rick, but good to have you back.
That's okay. I needed to stretch a little anyways. We're here for a couple more games today. But I was looking at some of the stats, and one that stood out with me for Canada that they didn't do yesterday, no penalty minutes. They're a lot more disciplined. They're taking the body, but they're not taking that extra hit. They're not hitting high. They're not hooking. They're not holding. They're being more disciplined, and now they have the 4-1 lead.
However, they were going to get a penalty on the very first goal by Sweden. There was referee's hand was in the air, but instead Sweden scored, and so that washed out the penalty.
Good point.
And Billy Bridges has the puck. We're underway, second period action. I like the way he hides the puck, kind of like a quarterback on a, just hides it on his hip for a moment, makes it, people wonder, well, where is it? Here's a chance for Westlake. Swings it across for Dixon. Now back to Brad Bowden, looking cross ice, sees Westlake, gives him a pass, can't connect yet, and he tried to, but he got spun around, and a good defensive play by Ingvarsson. He'll shoot the puck into the Canadian corner. Back to get it is Adam Dixon. Sweden has a penalty, but it's less than 20 seconds left in that penalty to Marcus Holm. Now Bowden to center ice. Couldn't handle the pass. Brad Bowden already 2 goals and 1 assist in this game. Team Canada's power play about to expire. Dixon back to pick up the puck. Benoit Saint-Amand bangs his stick on the ice, telling his teammates to watch out for the penalty to expire and for the Swedish player to step on the ice. Dixon now coming from his defense position to Bowden, who couldn't get a shot. They jam away at the side of the net, and now the referee, Scott Bokald, blows his whistle and halts action.
You got to wonder what Coach Jan Edbom of Sweden would have to say to his troops in between periods, being down by 3 goals, being shorthanded man-wise. What do you think? What do you think the impetus? Get one early. You don't take any penalties.
I don't know if they're thinking about the end product. I think you have to be thinking about the process right now, Rick. And let's make the next shift. You know, let's beat them on the next shift, and let's try to win the period, and then let's see where we end up. And don't allow any more chances. But that's not materializing, as Canadians have been buzzing all around the Swedish net. Nicholson slides the puck into the corner. Booker will hustle after it. He and Ingvarsson collide. Penalty coming here. Not sure what it will be. I'm going to guess boarding. And the Canadian net is being vacated by Benoit Saint-Amand. And this is a boarding penalty, yeah. I don't know about that call, Rick. Let's look like a body check.
Well, possibly because he lunged at him. If you can see right there, he went up maybe a little with his arms.
I think you're right on the replay. You see it. If he turns his shoulder and makes that hit, it's fine.
It's fine. You get those arms up around the neck area, and being on a sled, you don't have that far to go to get to the neck. And especially if you leave the ice with your sled, if you lunge at somebody, they'll make that call.
Yep, okay, I was wrong. The referee made the right call. Dixon swings it cross ice for Bowden, playing the point here on the power play. He launches a shot that goes over top of the net. Billy Bridges chops it back to the blue line for Dixon. Throw it towards the net, he scores! Greg Westlake, just like that, snaps it in. It's 5-1 Canada.
I was watching Canada practice that exact play 2 days ago in the practice on the other rink, where they have the guy off the post and they fire a cross ice on the forehand, set play. And you know what? That wasn't a slow pass. That was a great one-timer by Westlake to be able to corral that.
And the pass came from Adam Dixon. And Westlake, that angle is tricky, you're right. We've seen several players fan on that exact sort of play. 4th goal of the tournament already for Greg Westlake. He scored 2 in each game. And so Canada opens up a 5-1 lead. After a performance yesterday that had the Canadians probably scratching their heads, but now that they've seen Italy play 2 strong games in a row, maybe it doesn't seem quite so dodgy.
And then when you think of Canada being the more aggressive team, you think it's strange that Sweden has the only 2 penalties in this game.
I'm just watching Graham Murray as he had himself straddled over the sled of the Swedish player, and he wasn't about to get up until he was good and ready.
Right.
Ingvarsson now for Sweden, was in the penalty box on that last goal, and he's scored the Swedish goal, so he's been all over the game sheet. Sent down the ice now by Canada with 12:06 to play in the second period. A 5-1 lead. Goals by Bowden, 2 by Westlake, and 1 by Dixon, and that's where Canada sits.
There's a lot of little tricks that it's hard for you to see that these sledge hockey players have, whether it's leaning on the other player's sled, which is really interference, whether it's just tipping the end of the sled, which you're not allowed to do, and you don't have to tip it hard just to throw him off kilters, change his direction. All these little interference plays the referee has a hard time picking up.
Just to correct my math, Rick, Bowden has 2 goals, Westlake has 2 goals, and Dixon has the other as the Canadians ice the puck again, as we're in the early stages of the second period.
Well, you're right. The Swedes really have nothing left to do but look at the process. Look at, well, let's try to play a little better defensively. Let's not take any more penalties. Let's be more disciplined. Try to get some more shots on net. We got a mountain to climb right now. Let's not look at that mountain. Just look at let's look at the foothills. Where can we go? Where can we go next?
And then maybe hope that Canada lets off the gas a little bit. If you're the Canadians, you probably don't want to do that. Derek Whitson has it now for Canada, deep in his own corner, shovels it ahead, and Dixon will flip it ahead, and now a 2-on-1. Hervé Lord and Sean Matheson. Matheson takes the pass, back to Lord. Hervé Lord with a shot, and that was blocked on a good defensive play by Niklas Ingvarsson. And talk about a good play, Adam Dixon spins away, rips a shot, stopped by Nielsen. Ingvarsson again, and again Dixon stops it. Little drop pass there for Whitson. His shot on net is stopped and held by Nielsen. And we're going to get a penalty here, I think. Or are we just going to get a face-off outside the blue line? The referee keeps pointing, and he keeps pointing out towards center ice. And I think we are going to get a penalty against a Canadian, maybe for roughing.
Yeah, Matheson went in the crease after Nielsen had a hold of the puck and banged into him. Goaltender interference, I would bet.
Well, the referee's hand signal was roughing, but I think...
Oh, was it? I thought he was just waving the face-offs outside or go to the penalty box. But
well, he was doing that, and then when he got to the penalty box, he signaled for roughing. But
okay.
I guess pick your poison, right? Basically, that's the same. He was roughing against the goaltender. Yeah. Matheson, 2 minutes for roughing is the official call. Sweden gets the puck into the Canadian zone. Adam Dixon, though, the first man on it. Boy, has he been impressive in this game.
He really has.
Dixon admitted yesterday to a little bit of nerves, although I thought he played well in the game against Italy, but he did admit to some nerves, and of course he's a 20-year-old competing in his first Paralympic Winter Games. Ray Grassi now steps on the ice in place of Dixon. The Canadians killing this penalty. And it'll be Jeremy Booker who gets to it. Ingvarsson back for it for Sweden. His team trying to get organized, trying to get something established offensively.
Nice play by Grassi there. I think he probably could have got to that, but he made it look good.
Well, that's what they do, isn't it? With the,
yeah, you turn the other way.
Doesn't matter what form of hockey you're playing.
These guys have played so much. For most of these guys out here, because there's a lot of veterans on these teams, they played a lot of sledge hockey in their life. They don't only play on the Paralympic team, they have club teams, they play in tournaments, they practice.
Some of them play other sports, and Greg Westlake, who's taking the face-off now, has been clutch in other sports as well. Scored a game-winning goal at the World Championships against Norway a few years ago, and at the age of 15, he had a hole-in-one in golf. I'm still waiting for mine first one, Rick, and I'm slightly older than 15.
Me too.
And I got lots of hands waving up here in the press box. Lots of folks waiting for their first hole-in-one. We're clearly not quite as talented in golf as Westlake. And he's got 4 goals in the tournament already. And as he heads off, the Canadians with short shifts here, killing this penalty. They don't want to let anything to be
and you haven't seen Billy Bridges in a while. I think they're just going to rest him, play a lot of the other guys.
Canadians steal the puck and slam it down the ice off the stick of big Ray Grassi.
They've got everything going their own way now.
Team Canada will get tomorrow off, and then on Tuesday night we'll face Norway in a clash of the Titans. Norway has been, let's be fair, and a little bit suspect in what we expected, but they have won both of their games, and that's the bottom line. If they beat Canada, they'll win the pool. Graham Murray mishandles the puck in his own end, and he gets wiped out into Gravitas Marcus Holm. Takes a hit from Murray. Teams are at even strength again. Canadians killing off the penalty. And the whistle goes, and the puck is going to be faced off to the left of Benoit Saint-Amand in the Canadian net.
A little added incentive for Greg Westlake. He was born in North Vancouver. He lives in Mississauga, in Toronto now, but not really sure if he grew up here. I just have his place of birth as North Vancouver.
No, I'm quite sure he's a Toronto area Oakville boy. His dad worked in the banking sector, and I think maybe moved around a little bit in the early stages.
Right.
Under 9 minutes to go in period number 2. A 5-1 lead for Canada. 2 goals for Brad Bowden, 2 goals for Greg Westlake, and 1 for Adam Dixon.
That's probably why he's a Toronto Maple Leaf fan.
Yes, that
Could be any other reason.
Cruel
right?
and unusual punishment.
Could be worse. Could like the Bruins of the Montreal Canadiens.
Hey.
Oh, Louis has the chirp in on that one.
Guys, we are also following what is happening today in Whistler, and let me tell you that this morning we had 15 kilometers sitting for the cross-country skiing. 2 medals for the Russian Federation, gold and silver. The bronze goes to Italy. So at the medal count at the moment, the Russian Federation has 10 medals, 4 golds, 4 silver since the beginning of the game. So it's going pretty well for them.
Only 1 medal is at stake. That's often what the sledge hockey players will complain about. We work our tails off for 4 years and for an entire tournament and win the gold, and it only counts as 1 medal. We have got a penalty coming here, another roughing call, this one against Sweden, waiting to see who gets fingered, and it is Nicholas Ingvarsson, who I think has got a postal code now in the penalty box. He's been there so often, his mail is arriving there.
Well, they have to be frustrated, down 5-1, and everything they're trying to do is not working. Even when they get on the power play, which hasn't been often in this game, they haven't been able to do anything. They're very frustrated. They don't have their star player in Cast, who was playing so well yesterday.
I tell you what, secretly, quietly, we were kind of hoping for Sweden yesterday. We enjoyed the fact that they got to Norway to overtime. Not that we wished any ill on Norway, just because Sweden's gone so far down, and now they're trying to fight their way back into the upper tier again. Here's Bowden with a chance, looking for the hat trick, and that was stopped and hit the mask of Nielsen. And in international hockey, that means a stoppage of play to protect players.
No, you always want to see the teams that are up and coming do well. You're not necessarily rooting against another team, but when they do play well and they do have a chance to win, it's going to mean so much to their program. Like today, Italy, if they had it hung on and beat Norway, or even just got a point out of that game, it would have been so good for them. But they're coming, they're close.
And already Italy's come such a long way. They were 8th and last as they hosted the Paralympic Winter Games 4 years ago, the sledge hockey tournament, and now 6th at the last 2 World Championships, and they may be in the top 6 or better here. But here's Bowden for Canada. His team wants nothing but gold. They've stated that. Here's a chance for Dixon. He scores! Another 2-goal scorer for Canada. 6-1 on a goal by Adam Dixon, and who set it up but Brad Bowden, who's got a 4-point game already.
Canada may have the best power play in the tournament. They're certainly poised. They practice it. You can see they move the puck around. They don't waste a shot. They look for the guy in the open slot. Sweden just can't do anything right now. 33% on the power play.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
It's not bad at all.
Any NHL team would take that.
Oh, I think they would. And then some. So Dixon, the goal scorer, Bowden, the assist getter, and Canada at the 6:16 mark. Sorry, the 7:16 mark of the second period has opened up a 5-goal lead. Marcus Holm, who's wearing the captain's C today in place of Jens Kask, who's injured with a broken finger. Lundgren chasing the puck, but it's a call and an icing against Sweden.
Marcus Holm was a factor in the game yesterday, but has not been anywhere close to as effective as he was against that Norway team. And an example of the frustration, he just iced the puck when he really didn't have to. He just had to get over the red line. They're rushing it. They're not making the plays. And that's what the Canadian speed can do to you. You rush things.
Face-off coming up in the Swedish zone. It's even strength. Canadians leading big and looking for more. And they battle for it. It gets worked out to center. Sweden able to knock it out of their zone, but Canadians shoot it right back in again. Hervé Lord and Ingvarsson, 2 number 3s in a collision. And Lord took the worst of that as the puck gets knocked back to center. Ray Grassi will shoot it right back in. Sweden content on just lofting it out, that is, as Graham Murray goes back to get it. Now it's going to be interesting, Rick, to see how the rest of this game is played. Will Canada just keep adding and adding, or will they let off as Sean Matheson and Nicholas Rakos collide?
Well, I don't think they're going to let off. I think they're going to play their third line, if you will, a little more. But no, they're going to keep going, because what you don't want to do is form bad habits. You know, it's not like you want to run the score up and embarrass anybody, but this isn't kids hockey. This isn't recreational hockey. You're out here to win a medal. You never know if you need that differential in goals for and goals against. So you go out and you play hard, and you try to score, and whichever comes out at the end of the game, that's how it comes out.
Billy Bridges centering a line with Jeremy Booker and Mark Dorian. Dorian scored the goal that gave Canada the win, actually, yesterday. The first goal in the first period in a 4-0 game, but the winning goal. Gets the puck back to Dixon. His shot is blocked. So you've got 3 players scoring in this game. Westlake, Bowden, and Dixon all have 2 goals each. And Billy Bridges, I have him at 3 assists, but he may have more, as the puck, I thought it was tied up, but it is worked loose by Aaron Anderson, who's been quite quiet in this game compared to the game he had yesterday, where he was buzzing all around the Norwegian end. And now Bridges for Dorian, and the shot was stopped by Nielsen. Another penalty coming here. Hard to see who it's going to be against.
It's on Dorian for interference, I believe. Yep.
It is definitely interference, and it is Mark Dorian, I think, as he looks to the bench first, but now I think he realizes he'll be making a trip to the penalty box.
More questions also, guys, on 604-404 puck. And once again, we say hello to everyone who is listening to us here at UBC Thunderbird Arena. And at the moment, I've got Tony from Montreal who is here. He just wrote me, must players' legs be totally paralyzed to be eligible to play in the sledge hockey tournament?
Well, no, because you can be an amputee, so you might not have legs. You can have your legs and be, basically you just have to have a lower limb disability that makes elite able-bodied hockey impossible to play. So someone like Rick with 2 perfectly good lower legs would not be eligible to play. Someone like Benoit Huot, who does have a lower limb disability, would be eligible to play, even though in a pool, I'd hate to see Rick's chances against Benoit, but that's a different story.
And a guy like Taylor Chase from the U.S. team can walk today, but only through 2 years of intensive therapy. But he cannot play able-body hockey, and his level of disability is enough to qualify him for the Paralympics.
So for more questions, 604-404 puck. You can text us everything you want, and we're ready. Also, we're there in French.
An offside call here against Sweden. So if you had a question about rules in terms of things like offside and icing, that's all exactly the same as it is in international hockey. So that means no touch icings like we saw at the Olympic Games, and offside standard rules. The changes, of course, are things like the equipment. The sticks are allowed to be obviously different. They're allowed to use 2 playing sticks. We wouldn't get away with that, I don't think, at the Olympics. Although with the way they break nowadays, I think it wouldn't hurt for a guy to have an extra one with him. But
exactly.
Bradley Bowden chases after the puck, throws it out front, and it's blocked on a good play by the goaltender, Nielsen.
With Canada killing a penalty, they're still aggressive. Your question was, do you think they're going to back off? They're not even backing off on the penalty kill.
Still a minute 17 left in the penalty against Mark Dorian.
I haven't seen it happen yet. Somebody asked me, and I don't know the answer to this. Is it an automatic penalty if they shoot the puck out over the glass in their own end?
In international hockey, it is. So I assume it is in sledge hockey as well.
I know it is in the NHL, but all the rules have not carried over.
Nope. And a collision coming here. Ray Grassi instigates it, but Ingvarsson does a great job to come out with the puck And Kasperi was there. A penalty coming. Engmark. And it's going to be a head check, I think.
No, I think an elbow on Billy Bridges.
Well, no, it's
a head check.
Yeah,
You're
it is
right.
a head check. And it is Bridges, though. You got the right player, but that's a penalty you don't see in the National Hockey League that there's been lots and lots of talk about, but not yet.
A punch to the head.
Well, the hit from Bridges was obviously high on Engmark. And we talked about Dejo Engmark yesterday. He'll celebrate his 38th birthday next week on the 16th, in a few days, in fact. He was born in New Delhi, India. Lives in Malmo, Sweden these days, and has found his way onto a sledge hockey team representing his new country.
There's a 5-on-3 opportunity for Sweden.
This is what you're trying to build on, I think, Rick, if you're Sweden.
Well, it would be a shame if they didn't take advantage of this in their eyes, because this is the best opportunity they've had to possibly get back in the game.
Excuse me, Rick. Billy Bridges not only gets a 2-minute checking to the head penalty, but gets a 10-minute misconduct. So we won't even have he won't be eligible to play again until, well, 12
Almost
minutes
the
from
end of the
now.
game.
Yeah, well into the third period.
That's not like Billy.
No, I don't know if he must have argued something, and the explanation now being given to Canadian head coach Jeff Snyder from referee Scott Bocall.
They're going to put another man in the box.
From a 2-minute portion. If you recognize the name Jeff Snyder, by the way, well, it's a familiar name in hockey circles, the Snyder family from Elmira, Ontario, and Jeff is a first cousin of the late Dan Snyder, the former Atlanta Thrasher player, who died in that tragic accident a few years ago. And when that happened, the entire Canadian sledge hockey team went to the funeral. And a goal for Greg Westlake from 100 feet away. He's got a hat trick. Westlake launched one from center ice, and somehow it passed Nielsen. It's 7-1, and the crowd is rocking.
5-on-3, a long shot from the red line. Did it bounce? It did bounce, and it bounced just high enough to go off the top of Nilsson's glove, and instead of going right, it went left into the net.
Boy, Greg Westlake, it almost like he had a sense that there was something about that, whether it was a knuckleball shot or whatever it was. He watched it like a quarterback who launches a Hail Mary. Like he wanted to see how this thing is going to land.
Jan Edbaum not looking happy as suspected, the coach of the Sweden team. The floodgates are opening up when you score a goal like that.
This is by far our most lopsided game of the Paralympic Winter Games tournament, as Westlake has two Swedish players in behind the net, and he escapes them like Houdini. Westlake trying to get away from Kasperi. He will, but the puck will end up on the stick of Sweden. Remember, that was 2 men short. The Canadians were shorthanded by 2 men when Westlake scored that goal, and he will head off now in a line change.
Sweden looks totally demoralized to me. Marcus Holm not even wanting to go back in the corner after the puck.
Brad Bowden muscling his way out to center. Now Dixon shovels it ahead, and Labonte will follow up for Canada. He smells an opportunity. Jean Labonte cutting in. Labonte couldn't get a shot on net. Now Dorian will, and he scores. It's 8-1 for Canada.
Put the wagons in a circle. They're coming at them from all sides.
11:33, just a minute and 5 seconds after Canada scored on the Westlake goal. Yet another shorthanded goal for Canada.
It's been hard to read these games. It's to know how a team is going to come out, how a team is going to react. We've seen Italy play 2 strong defensive games. We've seen Norway not play well at all and still win 2 games. We saw Canada come out tight and nervous yesterday, but able to pull it out in the third. And now we see Canada just rolling over Sweden.
And we saw Japan with a nervous win over the Czech Republic as well.
Exactly.
But right now it is all Canada. An 8-1 win, just under 3.5 minutes to go in the second period. In this Group B, Pool B game. The other teams in the pool include Norway and Italy. And Canada's next opponent will be the Norwegians after they get a day of rest, and they've deserved it and earned it now. And maybe Sweden will get a miraculous recovery by Jans Kask, because, boy, they sure miss him.
Well, just so people don't think that there's a Pool A and a Pool B is governed by ability or anything like that. It's just the way they divided the teams up in this tournament, with the first seed, correct me if I'm wrong here, the first, the fourth, the fifth, and the eighth seed in A, and the second, third, sixth, and seventh in the B.
Yes, that's very good off the top of your head.
Oh, thank you.
Very well done. So the second seed would be Norway. The third seed, believe it or not, was Team Canada. Right. Even though they're the reigning Paralympic champions, but they finished third at last year's World Championships. The team that has had Canada's number the most often in recent years has been Team USA. They beat them at the Worlds in the semifinals. That relegated Canada to the bronze medal game. They beat Canada at the World Sledge Hockey Challenge in PEI. And the U.S. also just won a tournament in Japan, but the Canadians did not attend. But the American team comes in on a hat trick of wins in recent international events. Matheson for Canada couldn't clear it. Graham Murray trying to get back. Ray Grassi will. And the puck slides right in on net, where the save is made by Saint-Amand. And not quite sure I recognize, though it's a hand glove pass by Sweden. So the faceoff comes outside the Canadian blue line. 2:22 to go in period 2.
And with USA being in A and Canada being in B, they're not going to have a chance to play against each other until the semis, right?
Yes, not until the. Well, it could potentially be the semis.
They could potentially be.
Could potentially be the finals, or could potentially not play at all.
Right, but
depends.
The closest time they could play each other would be in the semis.
Correct. Canadians tip the puck out to center. Louis, you have something for us?
Yes, of course. I hope everyone will be also listening here on Puck Radio during the second intermission. I'll be talking to you about the first medal that Canada won today at these Paralympic Games. It was in the women's 10 kilometers sitting cross-country skiing. It's Colette Bourgogne who won this first silver medal for Canada. She's from, she's living, actually, she's at the Saskatoon Club in Saskatchewan. So yeah, I'll be talking to you a little bit more about her. She's also yeah, she's also working. Yeah, she's a teacher, actually. She's a grade 4 teacher. So I'll be talking to you about our first silver medalist in those Paralympic Games here in Vancouver.
And Louis, it just to give you a sense, she was a former teammate of mine in athletics, and so.
Oh, great!
Colette Bourgogne, a wonderful athlete, both in summer and in winter games. She just loved the summer, but she's absolutely fallen in love with winter sports, and has been cross-country skiing. And I forget how many games she's attended now, but I think it's in the range of 7 or 8, combined with summer and winter.
Yes, 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 yes.
So that'll be great. Can't wait to hear the story about Colette Bourgogne and hear a great race with Brad Bowden. Boy, I'd like to see him in a racing wheelchair one day. That would be fun to watch. He is a lightning bolt. Steals the puck. Knocked away by Ingvarsson.
Sweden back on the power play. Graham Murray taking a penalty. I believe it was another headshot or roughing. I didn't see the call.
We're just over a minute to go in period number 2. Jeremy Booker keeping the puck in. Brad Bowden after it. Norway's got to be watching this, Rick, and wondering, what did we do so differently? There's a shot by Bowden and a good save by Ulf Nielsen, the 45-year-old Swedish keeper. What did Norway do so differently that they did not have play with any effectiveness against Sweden?
Well, Norway did not set the pace of the game like Canada has. Norway came out, almost played down to Sweden's pace, but that's kind of the pace that Norway plays at anyways. But Norway, I think, has a lot more offensive talent on their team than Sweden does, especially without Jan's Kask.
Head coach of Team Sweden is Jan Edbom. He actually doubles as their backup goaltender. You'll see him in his wheelchair right in the center of the bench. Reminds me of Viktor Tikhonov. Remember him?
Oh, yeah.
Head coach of the Soviet program, and those glory years, he used to walk in front of his players on the bench. This is a little different, and a different reason, of course, but interesting. Puck shot back into the Swedish zone.
Not a well-liked coach by his players, from what I hear.
His grandson drafted by the Los Angeles Kings. And I think he's a completely different kind of player with the bleach blonde California look. And I think, in fact, he grew up in California. But here it is all Great White North, and Canada had a 4-1 lead after one. They add 4 more in the second, 8-1, out-shooting Sweden in this game, 23-1. The one Swedish shot, first shot of the game, only shot in the net. Ingvarsson scored it, but boy, oh boy, this is a drubbing so far in favor of Canada.
Well, very, very often the stats don't tell the story, but the stats are telling the story. One shot on net for a team like Sweden, who had a very good game yesterday, is obviously not acceptable. But then even on the power play, they can't get shots on net. Then they're getting outscored on their own power play today. Everything that could possibly go against them has gone against them.
Louis Saint-Amand, we pass the second intermission torch to you.
Well, thank you guys. Let's come back a little bit on this second game for Team Canada, second period here at UBC Thunderbird Arena. Alors voilà, nous sommes de retour ici en direct du haut de la Galerie de la Presse pour regarder ensemble cette deuxième période fort importante pour l'équipe du Canada. Faisons un tour d'horizon premièrement de la première période. Après les 15 premières minutes de jeu, il y avait déjà 14 tirs au but à l'avantage du Canada contre un seul pour l'équipe de la Suède. En première période, in the first period, le Canada a ouvert la marque avec Brad Bowden, son premier filet du tournoi. Brad Bowden, le numéro 27 à 1 minute 25 secondes. C'était 1-0 Canada. Todd Nicholson a récolté l'assist sur la séquence. 13 secondes plus tard, c'était 1-1 alors que Niklas Ingvarsson marque son premier filet du tournoi. 1:38, c'était le temps au tableau, donc 13 secondes après le premier but du Canada. Mais ces derniers ne s'en sont pas laissés imposer, alors que 5 minutes plus tard, bien, le Canada ajoute un but et tout près du moins double son avance sur l'équipe de la Suède. C'était 2-1 à ce moment-là, alors que Glenn Westlake, le numéro 12, marque son 3e filet du tournoi ici dans ce tournoi paralympique. À 7 minutes 44 secondes, Todd Nicholson et Brad Bowden ont récolté les passes. Un autre filet pour le Canada, toujours en première période, 3-1, alors qu'Adam Dixon, le numéro 11, marque son premier but du présent tournoi à 12:54. Billy Bridges récolte la passe sur la séquence, 4-1 Canada, et c'est gracieuseté du numéro 27, Brad Bowden, son 2e filet du match. Billy Bridges et Glenn Westlake ont également récolté un point sur la séquence. Donc, après une période, 14-1 les tirs au but pour le Canada, 4-1 le pointage au tableau des points. En deuxième période, and we had a big second period here at UBC Thunderbird Arena. And let's have a look all at this. The second period, Glenn Westlake scored another goal. It was now the score 5-1, a fourth goal for Mr. Westlake. Number 12, at 17 minutes, 13 seconds. Adam Dixon and Billy Bridges also get the assist. Adam Dixon make the score at 6-1 Canada. Brad Bowden and Billy Bridges get the assist also on the play. A few minutes later, at the 25th minute of this game, Glenn Westlake, hat-trick for him for today, his 5th goal of the current tournament. It's unassisted, 7-1 Canada. At the 26th minute, less than 1 minute later, Marc Dorion scores his second goal of the tournament. Number 7, Marc Dorion, second goal unassisted. 8-1 Canada after the first 30 minutes of this game. After 2 periods, at least during the second period, 9-0 the shots for Canada, which makes a total after first 30 minutes of the game 23-1 for Canada. Revenons maintenant sur les activités à l'extérieur dans les Jeux paralympiques d'hiver de Vancouver en 2010. Je vous mentionnais un peu plus tôt cette première médaille finalement pour l'équipe canadienne. En ski de fond, le 10 km chez les femmes assises. L'épreuve prenait son envol aujourd'hui à midi à Whistler. Et le Canada qui a remporté cette médaille d'argent, donc une première médaille pour le Canada. Et je vous parle brièvement qui fut cette personne justement qui a récolté, qui a remporté cette médaille-là. Il s'agit d'une dame du nom de Colette Bourgogne en ski de fond. Et Colette Bourgogne également qui est au niveau international déjà depuis plusieurs années. Elle a fait de la course à pied. D'ailleurs, le collègue Rob Snook nous parlait justement de cette dame-là. Elle a également participé aux Jeux paralympiques en été. 3 fois justement ces Jeux paralympiques-là, soit en 92, 96 et 2000. Elle a également remporté 4 médailles de bronze là-bas, toutes en fauteuil roulant. Elle est également une enseignante en 4e année. So Colette Bourgogne, first medal today in those Vancouver 2010 Paralympic Winter Games here in Vancouver. So she competed on national level in cross-country running before the car accident that left her without a spin cord injury. In addition to representing Canada at the Paralympic Winter Games, she has had a successful career in Paralympic Summer Games. In 3 Paralympic Summer Games, 92, 96 and 2000 in Sydney. She has won 4 bronze medals there, all in wheelchair athletics. She's also a teacher, grade 4. Her education is physical education, teaching at University of Saskatchewan in Saskatoon, Canada, of course. She's age 48. Alors, elle est âgée de 48 ans, Colette Bourgogne, et elle a remporté cette médaille justement aujourd'hui pour le Canada. Also, let's have a look at the medal count at this moment here on this day 3 of the Paralympic Winter Games here in Vancouver. Let's have a look at this. I'll make a little short refresh for you just to make sure we have the right information. Here we go. At this moment, the Russian Federation on day 3 has 10 medals. 4 gold, 4 silver, and 2 bronze. The team that comes on the second place, it's Ukraine. Ukraine has got 6 medals at the moment, 2 golds, 1 silver, and 3 bronze. Belarus come third. Belarus, 2 medals, 1 gold and 1 bronze. Then after we have Germany with 1 gold medal. Canada is now in the 4th position. So we have 1 medal also, 1 silver medal. Then after comes Finland, Norway, Italy, United States with also 1 medal. Alors au chapitre du compte des médailles, l'équipe de la Fédération de la Russie a présentement 10 médailles ici au tableau. 4 d'or, 4 d'argent et 2 de bronze. Il y a également l'équipe de l'Ukraine qui a 2 médailles d'or, 1 médaille d'argent et 3 médailles de bronze, ce qui fait un total de 6. Viennent par la suite le Bélarus et l'Allemagne. Le Bélarus, 2 médailles, 1 d'or et 1 de bronze. L'Allemagne, 1 médaille d'or. Canada, une première médaille aujourd'hui, comme je vous mentionnais un peu plus tôt, cette médaille d'argent. Et viennent par la suite la Finlande, la Norvège, l'Italie et les États-Unis. Also, lots of action here at the UBC Thunderbird Arena. Earlier today, we had the first game of this day 3 here in Vancouver in the ice sledge hockey B group round. Game number 5 was played this morning at 10 o'clock. And finally, Italy did really well. They battled hard against Norway, but Norway came back at the end to win this game. Quickly, we can have a look at this game also. The first goal of the game was scored by Italian Werner Winkler at 8:34 of the first period. Florian Paranker also got the assist on this one. No goals in the second period. It was a tight game also in the shots. 7-7 after the first 30 minutes of play. Let's have a look now at this third period this morning, also in this game between Italy and Norway. Norway finally, a few minutes only before the end of the third period, scored the tied goal. Kivel Vidrone got this goal, tied the game for Norway. It was 1-1. Helge Bjornstad also got the assist on that one. And less than 2 minutes, 1 minute 45 seconds before the end of the third period, Kelvij Brone scored his second goal of the game. Helge Bjornstad once again, and Tommy Rovelstad got the assist on that one too. So 2-1 Norway, final score. Norway wins his second game. Second very tight game here in this Paralympic tournament. After those 3 periods, 19-10 for the shots for also Norway. Also more to come here at the UBC Thunderbird Arena at 5 p.m. a little bit later. We're gonna have this game of Group A, game number 7 in this tournament. USA will be facing Czech Republic. Then after, we're gonna have tonight at 8:30, we're gonna have this game between Japan and South Korea. Let's have a look now to yesterday's result. Regardons maintenant les résultats d'hier. Ici, au UBC Thunderbird Arena, il y avait également beaucoup d'action, lots of action on this first weekend here of this Paralympic tournament. 4 games today and 4 games yesterday also. And also, we'll be talking to you in a few seconds about Tuesday. 4 more games to come also on Tuesday. Alors, regardons brièvement justement ces résultats hier, ici, du côté du UBC Thunderbird Arena. Le premier match à être présenté dans ce tournoi paralympique, l'équipe canadienne qui s'amenait sur la patinoire à 10 h, l'équipe du Canada qui l'a emporté de manière convaincante, mais quand même qui ne l'a pas eu facile, a dû batailler très ardemment, puisque l'équipe de l'Italie a réussi à tenir le Canada presque en échec pendant tout le match. Bref, c'était 1-0 pour l'équipe Canada après les 2 premières périodes de jeu. Mais finalement, les Canadiens se sont réveillés en 3e période pour l'emporter par la marque de 4-0. Et par la suite, il y avait un match hier à 13h30, l'équipe de la Norvège qui l'a emporté par la marque de 2-1 contre l'équipe de la Suède. La Norvège qui l'a emporté in extremis en tir de barrage. Il faut dire que la Suède également avait pris les devants 1-0, causant une certaine surprise selon nos analystes ici, Rob Snook et Rick Middleton. Quelques instants plus tard également, lors de la journée d'hier, toujours à 17 h, les États-Unis l'emportent de manière convaincante 5-0 contre l'équipe de la Corée du Sud. Également hier à 20h30, il y avait ce dernier match en soirée. Victoire de 2-1 du Japon contre la République tchèque. Of course, yesterday was the first game, were presented the first games of this ice sledge hockey tournament. Canada went on the ice at 10 a.m. against Italy. Italy did battle hard, but finally Canada at the end won this game for nothing. Another game which the team which lost really battled hard. Sweden yesterday, they finally lost in overtime, more than overtime, in shootouts. So 2-1 the final score. USA also yesterday was playing 5-0. They won against South Korea. And finally, in the last game that was presented here yesterday at UBC Thunderbird Arena, Japan won this game 2-1 over Czech Republic. More action also to come on Tuesday, because tomorrow, Monday, it will be off here. Most of the teams will be practicing just to get ready for their next game. But on March 16th at 10 a.m. here at UBC Thunderbird Arena, Czech Republic and South Korea will face. 1:30, we will have Italy against Sweden. USA-Japan will face at 5 p.m. And a little bit later on Tuesday at 8:30, we're going to have Canada that will be back on the ice against Norway. Very interesting game that we will, of course, be presenting you. We will broadcast here on Puck Radio. And by the way, we are always on here during those games here at the UBC Thunderbird Arena. Puck Radio is here, and once again, we want to invite you to text your questions. Ask our panel, Rob Snook, Rick Middleton, and myself, Louis-Simon Lapointe, anything about sledge hockey. You want to learn something? You were wondering who may have the best shot in this tournament? Why not? 604-404-PUCK, Puck. 604-404-PUCK. 404-7825. Vous pouvez à nouveau envoyer vos questions ici même à notre équipe d'analystes. Envoyez vos questions pour tout connaître sur le hockey luge. L'invitation vous est lancée au 604-404-POC. 604-404-7825. On attend vos messages textes. And as you know, we will broadcast all the games here in this sledge hockey tournament. And if you ever go during those Paralympics to the Vancouver Paralympic Center, don't forget your little green machine, your little green radio, and tune into Hack Radio. Take your radio to watch those wheelchair curling games and listen to our expert commentary for all the wheelchair curling sessions. Bien entendu, si vous passez au cours de cette période paralympique au Centre paralympique de Vancouver, n'oubliez pas d'apporter votre radio et de syntoniser Hack Radio. Alors, apportez votre radio aux épreuves de curling en fauteuil roulant et pourquoi pas écouter nos experts commenter toutes les séances de cette discipline. Both teams are back here on the ice at the UBC Thunderbird Arena. Sweden wearing yellow, Canada wearing red, and wearing blue. Right beside me, Rob and Rick.
Yes, we are wearing blue like good Smurfs do. And it is 8-1 for Canada as we begin the third period. Canadians have Graham Murray in the penalty box for the next 15 seconds. The Canadians have their two star offensive players in this game on the ice. Greg Westlake, who has a hat trick, and Brad Bowden, who has 2 goals and 2 assists. And now the question, Rick, that you asked me at the beginning of the second period is even bigger. Now what does Sweden do?
Well, the thing is, they can't watch the clock because when you're in these games, and I haven't been in many of these in my life, either able-bodied or sled hockey, but that clock goes awful slow.
And they've got 14 and a half minutes if they're going to watch it. As Jean Labonte falls, loses his stick, but the puck grabbed by Canada, sent cross ice by Nicholson. The penalty over. Sweden has managed 1 shot on the Canadian goal and scored on that opportunity. I think Benoit Saint-Amand would like it if they took a few more shots just to improve his save. Well, he has no save percentage right now, and he didn't make a save, and it was a tough chance, to be fair. Here's a chance for Westlake, and he fires a shot. Nielsen just got a piece of it, and then Westlake intending to make a hit. Boy, is he making an impression on this Canadian audience. Greg Westlake now scoots off the ice, working hard to the very last pick. Nicholson for Dorian. His backhand scores. Second of the game, third of the tournament for Mark Dorian. Canada leads. Are you ready? 9-1.
I don't see Jan Edbom putting his sled on to give Ulf Nilsson a break. He's going to leave him in there right to the end.
Jan Edbom, of course, the head coach of Team Sweden, also their backup goaltender. No, I think you're right, Rick. I think he's going to sit right there in the middle of the bench and observe.
Well, we had said one of the problems Sweden had, and you know, our estimation why they dropped down in the rankings is the lack of good young players. Well, they've kind of replaced a lot of their lineup with some good young players. They need a little more seasoning, but they're not there yet. But they don't have a good young goalie coming up, as I see, and that could be a real problem in coming years.
Not that the goaltender now for Sweden has been the problem. Ulf Nilsson, the 45-year-old, but that's the problem. He's a 45-year-old.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I know.
You have to bring along a goalie. You just don't want to throw him in there at 21 years old or something like that. But I don't see them even bringing somebody along like that.
Yeah, you're right. If this was the case and they had a younger goaltender, they'd throw him in right now and at least give him 13 minutes of action.
Yeah.
And a little bit of international experience. And maybe, who knows, he gets a shutout for those 13 minutes or even just allows maybe 1 goal, and that would be huge for his confidence. But that's not the case for Sweden. And they wave off the icing to the linesman. Graham Murray will go back to get it for Canada. For Hervé Lord. Banged off the boards by Ray Grassi and down the ice. This will be an icing call against Canada. Rick, one of the stories we haven't had a chance to mention on the Canadian team is the story of Matthew Cook. He's not on the team right now. There's a very, very good chance that he would have been on the team, but illness has really struck him. He's a young man of just 22 years old from Edmonton, Alberta. There's a chance that that Matt is listening, and if he's not, he may well be in the building right now. He is very sick with cancer. It has really affected him, and we don't know what the future holds for Matt, but he's a wonderful young player. They expected him to be part of this team at the Paralympic Games, but that has not been able to happen for Matt. But they are remembering him, and he is a big part, the players feel, of their team.
Well, we certainly wish him all the luck in a speedy recovery, hopefully.
Offside call at the Canadian blue line. Again, just a reminder, Canada's next game will be on Tuesday against Norway. All the teams in the tournament will get today off, or sorry, tomorrow off. I'm jumping ahead of myself a little bit. There's still 2 more games on today's schedule. And if you're in the building now, maybe you want to grab a ticket because you don't want to miss USA and Czech Republic at 5 or Japan and Korea at 8:30 tonight. If the atmosphere is even remotely like it's been for this game, it's just been dynamite. And the Canadian players have benefited from the Canadian fans, I think, and have just come out guns a-blazing and lead 9-1 with still 12:21 to go in the third.
Another interesting game tomorrow is Japan-USA. If anybody can keep up with the USA speed, Japan might be able to do that.
That's on Tuesday's schedule. Tomorrow a day off for the players in terms of games. We'll see if teams practice tomorrow. Some may and some will choose not to. Nicholson, the veteran for Canada. His pass was picked off by Niklas Ingvarsson. Long pass to center. He was trying to connect with Rasmus Lundgren, the 18-year-old, but that went too far, and that's an icing call, and this might be a slow third period.
If they keep icing it. No, nothing seems to be working for Sweden. You know, some games are like that where you just can't get the passes on the stick. Your timing is off. I don't think it started like that for Sweden. I think with Canada scoring the goals, wearing them down, I think the one that broke their will was the shorthanded goal, the 5-on-3 goal. After that, I think they were just threw their hands in the air going, wow, we got no shot here. But they're back. They're making a good effort here. They're not going to quit. Sweden is not going to quit.
During that last stoppage of play, Niklas Ingvarsson raced over to the bench, flipped his sled on its side. The equipment manager came on the ice for Sweden, and with a tool in hand, it might have been an Allen key, made a quick repair, and Ingvarsson is back out playing again.
Well, they can't afford to lose him. They only have 10 men on the bench, and he's one of their best defensemen out there.
Sweden back to pick up the puck. Ingvarsson will go long cross ice to Anders Wistrand. But again, Canada taking over. Dorian fumbled that one. He's got 2 goals in the game, Mark Dorian. He's got 3 now in the tournament.
Sweden hasn't medaled since '02, and I know you don't like that word medaled. It's not supposed to be.
It's not a verb.
A verb.
But it's everyone says it in our language today, Rick.
Hasn't
it's
won
all right.
a medal since '02, winning the bronze in Salt Lake City. And they're trying to rebuild their program. They have some good young players on this team, but as you can see, they're having a hard time matching up with Canada's speed. Canada being one of the top teams in the world and really playing on top of their game tonight.
Especially disappointing for Sweden after the way they started the tournament with such a strong, effective game against Norway. It took them to overtime, and there's another goal, and the hat trick for Mark Dorian. He just walks out of the corner pretty much unbothered and then fires one high over Nielsen. This is in double figures now. It's 10-1 Canada.
Yeah, there's no mercy rule. They're going to keep running it up as much as they can. They came here to win. They're in front of their fans. All their fans are loving it here. And I don't blame them.
For some people, of course, this may well be their first taste of international ice sledge hockey. We know even someone like Benoit Huot, who's been around the international Paralympic sport for many, many years, just never had a chance to see a live sledge hockey game, and here he is today. And what a game he's seeing. Louis, you got any questions?
Beautiful. I was just going to comment on this one. I think the puck will be kept. We just saw Mark Dorion keeping the puck to sending it on the bench, and of course he'll keep this puck forever. Hat trick here in this beautiful crowd at UBC Thunderbird Arena. And by the way, if anyone still want to ask us any questions about sledge hockey, as always, it's still possible to make it, especially we have 10 minutes left in that game. So you can text your questions to the 604-404-PUCK, P-U-C-K, which is, by the way, 7825, 604-404-PUCK. So you can ask the panel anything about sledge hockey. Alors voilà, c'est possible de nous envoyer vos questions à propos du hockey sur luge à nos experts ici, Rick et Rob, au 604-404-PUCK. Bien entendu, nous sommes également présents via la langue française et nous en sommes bien fiers.
Team Canada is 100% in control of this game. They have allowed only one shot on net, leading 10-1 with just over 9 minutes to go in the first period. Sorry, third period. Well, thankfully it's not the first period, but it was 4-1 after the first period. Todd Nicholson runs into his man in the corner. That was Ingvarsson. Kasperi is run into by Grassi as Canada continues to throw the body around. We've mentioned this at other times in the tournament, but I think it's worth repeating. Hockey Canada has fully absorbed Canada's sledge hockey program, and that happened before the Torino games. They won gold at those games, and at this point sit on top of their pool, which is Pool B here at the Vancouver games. And already seen some of the Hockey Canada people. I would suspect that the president, Bob Nicholson, will make an appearance at some point. Chris Jurowitz and Adam Crockett, both from Hockey Canada, are here in the building, and they have a big presence, and they have used significant funds, Rick, to help the program, and the players just have nothing but good to say about Hockey Canada and their involvement in sledge hockey.
Well, I think it was overdue that Hockey Canada and USA Hockey in the United States did that. It was right after we won the gold medal in Salt Lake City that caught the eye of USA Hockey, and then shortly after that they did the same thing as Hockey Canada. They are the national governing body of all hockey in the United States, but they really didn't have sledge hockey under their umbrella until just before Torino, and now the training is so much better. There's funds there for the players. And you can see that it really adds to the talent on the team, the coaching, the amount of ice time they get, the better equipment that they get. And they get sponsors, and they get money where they don't have to work all the time, and they can dedicate a lot of their time to practice and getting better. And it's really paid off for both Canada and the United States.
It's a matter of time before other programs do the same. It'll be interesting to see if Russia starts to put its support behind its sledge program before the Sochi games. Nicholson for Westlake. He's got 3 already, but 4 was not to be as Nielsen makes the save.
Just giving them too much time out in the slot area to get those shots off. The Canadian players are such good shooters. They fire that puck hard, and they have the patience to look up, take a look. There, he just didn't get all of the puck. But he's had a great game today, and I expect he's going to be a player to reckon with for the remainder of this tournament.
We also have Alexander on the message, the text cell phone actually. He's just testing us at the moment. He wants to know if other countries also have absorbed sledge hockey as Canada and USA did. Do you have an answer on this?
Well, we know that Norway has, because George Kingston talked about that in one of his interviews, but of course the Norwegian ice hockey program would not be as highly recognized as, say, USA Hockey or Canada Hockey, Hockey Canada rather, but they have done so. Not sure about other countries. Rick, do you know?
I'm not familiar with it, not at the same levels as Canada and the U.S., and I think some of them were even complaining that in the North American, the players were getting paid or receiving funds which allow them, almost like a professional, to not have to work and pay more time to their practicing and to their game, where they didn't have the same opportunities. So even though they certainly don't pay for anything when it comes to Paralympic play, I don't think the funds are there maybe as much as in Canada and the United States, but they certainly get all their equipment, all their ice time, and all their travel and everything taken care of.
Talking about players being paid, we heard together earlier this week, there was a story around the Korean team here that some players actually were paid. Have you heard about this?
Well, that's okay though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, but I think there was some they were not happy about the
Well, they weren't happy that
or,
people were talking about it.
Yeah.
They thought that somehow it tarnished the amateurism. And, you know, they're still just players who are trying to live and maybe support a family, and it's not like they're getting rich, although in the Olympics nobody had a problem with players who are rich competing in sport. So, yeah. While we were chatting, I should just mention, and he's been the brunt of a lot of the Canadian attack, but Ulf Nielsen made a spectacular save on the last Canadian rush, and just mentioned that was a very, very strong effort by him.
Well, sometimes, you know, goaltending is a tough game. You can make some good saves, but when so many go in, they get lost in the game.
Here's a chance for Sean Matheson trying to add to the Canadian lead. He's got Whitson with him. Shot on net, saved by Nielsen, second in a row, and a dandy.
You know, like that, a two-man breakaway. I mean, that just should not happen normally in a game. But in a game like this, where Sweden really has to pay more attention to offense than defense, they've opened it up.
Derek Whitson has the puck for Canada. He'll bank it off the boards, down the ice. This will not go for icing, says the linesman. And that means Lundgren has to go back to get it for Sweden. And he puts the puck right in the path of Hervé Lord, who then runs into his teammate Whitson and allows Sweden to gain control and get it to center, where Anderson is knocked off his blades by Grassi. Now Hervé Lord chasing, but getting back is Marcus Holm for Sweden. But to be truthful, I don't know how many. I mean, maybe 2 goals, maybe 3 at the absolute outside of the fault of the Swedish goaltender. The rest is just the lack of play in front of him.
Well, he should sue his defenseman for lack of support. Early in the first period, you saw Ingvarsson and Holm both in behind the net, which led to a goal. But, you know, Canada can cause that because of their speed, because they get on you and they hit you continually. You don't know sometimes which guy to take because they're moving so fast and they're cycling so fast. Here you see the two-man breakaway. Again, a good save, like you stated. In a close game, you would say a great save. But in a 10-1 hockey game, you know, you say, well, that was a good save, but so many others went in that you remember the goal.
Did that not hit him in the mask? I think it did, and they didn't call the whistle, but that's okay. He's all right, and he's... Ulf Nielsen, 23 saves. If you say you made 23 saves in a sledge hockey game, that's pretty impressive normally. This is by far the highest scoring game so far in the tournament. A 9-goal spread as Canada leads, and will head to its day off with a 2-0 record.
But they know they have their hardest hockey ahead of them.
Which is probably why Jeff Snyder, is the Canadian head coach, is rolling his lines. Brad Bowden not backing off one iota. Wearing number 27 for Team Canada. He scored the first goal of the game 1 minute and 25 in, and he's been buzzing pretty much ever since. Nielsen for Ingvarsson. Sweden looking for an opportunity here to salvage some pride maybe. Sent back into the Canadian zone. Adam Dixon will go cross ice. The pass will eventually find Nicholson. He can't reach it. Lundgren, as the Canadian fans get into the wave here at the UBC Thunderbird Arena. We're just so glad that you are along for the ride, whether you're listening on your puck radios here in the building or on ParalympicSport.tv. It's a thrill to have folks, whether they're in the house or somewhere worldwide. And I think we have a whistle, and not sure what the call is. Maybe a linesman-initiated call. Too many men on the ice, and it's going to be against Canada. Not sure what the purpose is of the penalty, but
Seen a lot of that the last couple days.
Louis?
Yes, some results about the wheelchair curling round robin session 3 that started earlier today at 12:30. And good news for the Canadian fans, 6-5 win against Norway. So they're now 3 wins, no defeats, so they're undefeated at the moment in this tournament. Also some results about Italy, Switzerland. Italy won this one 13-4. USA bet and won against Germany 6-5, and Korea won Japan 7-5. Bonne nouvelle donc pour l'équipe canadienne de curling qui demeure invaincue. Victoire de 6-5 contre l'équipe de la Norvège. C'était la 3e session pour le round robin avec le curling en fauteuil roulant. Next game for Canada tomorrow 12:30 against Japan.
Not sure if Canada had the hammer or not in the last game, but they've certainly had the hammer in this game from the very first shift.
Grassi just Canada hammered. I'm not sure who that was. He was totally covered him. I think it was Wistron. But he hit him hard coming across.
Anders Wistron, the 26-year-old from Vaxholm, Sweden. And Ray Grassi loves to throw the weight around.
Yeah, you can't lower your head coming over the blue line with the puck because he's coming like a freight train. He doesn't just wait for you and give you the shoulder. He gets all his weight behind him, on the borderline of charging at times, but he doesn't have to hit you too hard. He just gets that shoulder into you and you go flying.
Right now the Canadians with the puck, they're killing a penalty. Brad Bowden serving the Canadian penalty for too many men on the ice. Why not? He's been on the score sheet for goals and for assists. Why not for a team penalty? Billy Bridges hustling after the puck in the Swedish end. You don't often see him on a penalty killing role, but he's out there now. And Dixon will just shoot it right back into the Swedish zone. Again, our next game on the program will be USA against the Czech Republic. You can hear that right here on Puck Radio. Rob Snook alongside Rick Middleton with our host Louis I almost called you Louis Saint-Amand. I'm not sure. I was thinking of the goaltender for Benoit Saint-Amand. I got your names all mixed up, Louis.
Just go for Louis Simon Lapointe.
Yeah, Louis Simon Lapointe.
Yeah. And you know what? Louis is easier. Louis. Shorter.
Right now it is Bowden with the puck for Canada. He saw Westlake lurking at the side of the net, tried to make the pass. Now Bowden in behind the net. Boy, he is just everywhere for Canada right now. Brad Bowden twisting and turning in the corner, walking out front, makes the pass for Labonte, who loses his stick. In fact, he's lost both. It's not only hard to shoot without them, it's hard to get anywhere in this game without your tools of the trade.
Bowden's sled looks different, almost like he's sitting in a chair. See how his legs are bent?
Yeah, it is interesting.
Yeah.
Someone was asking me off the air about the sleds and the front ends of the sleds and the little plastic things. Typically, the athletes don't even let those touch the ground, the ice.
Right.
There's a shot on the net by Whitson, the save made by Nielsen. He'll hold on. And so those are basically just for when they get bumped and rocked a little bit and that they'll have somewhere to land on, but they have to have them on the front of the sled, but they normally will just rest on the blades.
Yeah, if you look at it, they're about an inch or two off the ice. The sleds are balanced so that they do not sit on the ice because that would cause drag. but for balance, should you get knocked one way or the other, it stops the sled from going too far down.
Hervé Lord wins the face-off. Graham Murray chops the puck into the corner. Ingvarsson around the boards. Grassi keeps it in for Canada.
The Ray Train, his nickname.
There you go. We're down to 15 seconds to go. Team Canada on an impressive
Wave it off.
win over Sweden. It's not quite official, but it is an icing call against Sweden, even though Rick Middleton was calling for the washout signal.
Yeah, just wave it off and let it in.
Canadians will get a well-deserved day off, as will Sweden, and maybe even more tired Sweden with all of a demoralizing loss and only with 10 players on 10 skaters. It's sent down the ice by Sweden. This will be right on net, stopped by Benoit Saint-Amand. That's it. We had a hat tricks by Westlake and Dorian. We had a 4-point game for Bowden. We had an impressive romp for Team Canada. 10-1 the final over Sweden.
Well, you don't often see 32 shots on net in sledge hockey. That is pretty impressive. Almost half of them in the first period. So it shows that Canada came out loaded for bear, even though Sweden came back and tied them 13 seconds after they scored their first goal to make it 1-1. After that, it was all Canada.
And Louis, it was all Canada, and a 10-1 win the result. The Canadians will shake hand at center and no doubt will celebrate with their fans for the next few minutes here at the UBC Thunderbird Arena. This was a fun game to call. If you're a fan of Sweden, it was not a fun game for you, but they put on a dynamite effort yesterday against Norway and just didn't quite have it today against Canada.
Absolutely, it will be also interesting to follow the next Canadian game, which will be on Tuesday. We will invite you more officially in a few moments. Alors revenons quelques instants sur la rencontre d'aujourd'hui pour l'équipe canadienne qui l'emporte finalement par un pointage final de 10-1 contre l'équipe Suède. 1-0 Canada en début de rencontre à la première minute du match. Brad Bowden inscrit son premier du match, le numéro 27. 1-0 Canada. 13 secondes plus tard, Niklas Ingvarsson de la Suède crée l'égalité à 1:38. 1-1 l'égalité créée dans le match. Moins de 5 minutes plus tard, Glenn Westlake inscrit son troisième but du tournoi pour le numéro 12. 2-1 Canada. Todd Nicholson et Brad Bowden récoltent les aides sur la séquence. Adam Dixon porte la marque à 3-1 Canada. Alors à 12:54, alors que Breeley Bridges récolte une passe également sur la séquence. Brad Bowden va quelques instants plus tard marquer un autre filet, son deuxième du match, 4-1 Canada après la première période. C'était même 14-1 pour l'équipe canadienne. Après 14-1 pour l'équipe, 4-1 Canada au niveau du pointage, mais au niveau des tirs au but, 14 contre 1 seulement pour l'équipe de la Suède, 14 à l'avantage du Canada. En deuxième période, Glenn Westlake inscrit son quatrième but du présent tournoi, 5-1 Canada. Dixon Bridges récolte les aides. Adam Dixon ajoutera un autre point à sa fiche, 6-1 Canada, alors qu'il inscrit le but. Quelques instants plus tard, à la 25e minute du match, Glenn Westlake inscrit son 5e but du tournoi. Un tour du chapeau, un troisième but dans ce match, 7-1 Canada. Marc Dorion, quelques instants plus tard, inscrira son deuxième but du présent tournoi, 8-1 Canada, un but sans aide, 23 contre 1 les tirs au but après les 30 premières minutes de jeu. Dès le début de la troisième période, Marc Dorion inscrit son deuxième filet du but du match, son troisième du présent tournoi, 9-1 Canada. Et finalement, à la 34e minute du match, Marc Dorion, encore lui, tour du chapeau, son premier du tournoi, mais quatrième filet jusqu'à maintenant, 10-1 Canada. Les tirs au but dans cette troisième période, 7 contre 2 à l'avantage du Canada, ce qui portait maintenant un total de 32-3 pour l'équipe canadienne. Also, we want to invite you to be with us a little bit later today on the Puck Radio at 5 p.m. Game number 7, Group A. USA and Czech Republic will face at 8:30 p.m. tonight. Game number 8, Group A, Japan and South Korea. The Canadian team will play his next game on Tuesday at 8:30 against Norway, and the next game for Sweden will be also on Tuesday, 1:30 p.m. against Team Italy. On behalf of myself, Louis-Simon Lapointe, Rob Snook, and Rick Middleton, thanks for being with us today. Have a great day and see you later at UBC Thunderbird Arena. Mon nom personnel, Louis-Simon Lapointe, Rob Snook, Rick Anderson, merci d'avoir été avec nous aujourd'hui. Passez une belle journée et au plaisir de vous revoir au UBC Thunderbird Arena.
Channel 3, International Stereo Sound for Television, right channel. This is the IBC Distribution Centre. Channel 3, International Stereo Sound for Television, right channel.